couple of duplicates here at the LAN here.
Duplicates, yes. Yes, they are clones of one another. They are the same person. Then we've got Orange Bulborb over here, which you can see the roster on screen. These guys are cracked. These guys, I'm guessing that these guys are the ones who are going to go on to the top 24 out of the group. Leotos is a well-known Squiffer player, just been around for a very, very long time. They're going to be playing both Squiffers, they say. Umber, Blaster player, they say most Umbre, sorry. Mostly, I've only ever seen it spelled out. I've never actually heard it pronounced, so here we are. Blaster player. I actually got to play some Anarchy Open with Balloon recently, and that felt really good. It's one of those situations where you go in and you're like, wow, everything that I try is working. Like, I feel so good right. Wait a minute. Oh, that's because I'm getting set up. That's because I'm getting carried. That's because I'm calling out a play and they're immediately on top. Okay, I understand. That was a really fun time. Really strong players there. So, like I said, I would predict here that Guns N' Roses are the underdog. I'd predict that they're the ones who, you know, we're going to get a big pop-off if they see some success here. But they're no slouches either. Dio, you know, a longtime Sploosh player.
Yes, but they are the rat of Comp Splatoon.
And
like,
they will rat regardless of what weapons they're given. But we might actually see the Sploosh. We might also see them flex onto like a V-shot. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But the Dio, I did a video with Dio about Sploosh. You know, you can go check that out if you want to see his perspective on it. But essentially, the way that he likes to build comps is to have two other frontliners so that the Sploosh can do rat things, but the frontline doesn't fall apart while he's doing rat things. And then when he comes in and pinches, he has people that will collapse on the flank with him. And that's how you get the really massive value and just zero a team out immediately. Now, this game has not been especially conducive to the rat playstyle. The maps have tended to be skinnier, have a lot of choke points. It tends to be pretty easy to sniff that kind of thing out. But I still could see, you know, thinking, for example, of the fact that they're going to be running a Squiffer. Squiffer is a very aim-intensive weapon. And Sploosh is not an easy weapon to hit.
No, not at all.
If Dio is able to even get close enough that he can maybe make a player miss a shot or two, that could be an opening that gets them in. You know, we've got a Blaster player and we've got a Squiffer player, both relatively slow fire rates compared to something like a shooter. So, like, there are definitely some good targets to flank on this comp. It's just the caliber of the team that they're playing against is not to be, you know, understated. These are some pretty strong players.
Don't overestimate it, but I will say the maps, though, some of these ones are in favor, like Clams Umami, Zones Hagglefish, Rainmaker Humpback, Tower Inkblot, Clam Scourge. Like Clams Umami, you've got a couple of their sides. The mid kind of blocks it out, so you might not always see it. The backline will typically do, or the ones who are further behind. Ones can go behind pretty easily. On Hagglefish, that one's more wide open. That one's definitely harder to flank, especially if ones are truly guarding those flank routes, especially if they know. And since when Zones Hagglefish is game 2, if Dio is one doing constant amount of flanks, Orange, what is it, bulborb? Yeah. Bulborb is going to catch on to that. It's going to be a common pattern that they're going to call out, and they're going to be constantly walking. Yes, they're going to just be constantly walking towards, they'll be watching it a lot. But there's still ways for them to go in, like with the special combinations, like Tri-Strikes, Booyah Bomb can cover that, but can be painted through. So it's just something to watch. But if someone's like oh my gosh. Yes, a Last Airbender, Firebender here. But no, there's using Inkzuka going forward, just following it basically. Fire is my element.
That's rough. Putting Dio through on a flank, one thing with like Umami or Hagglefish that you can do is rather than trying to do it stealthily, you just put him through with the hammer. Like that's what you see like Arashi trying to do a lot of the time. You'll put the hammer through on one side, so that area is just like not accessible to the enemy team, and then you put the other 3 members on the other side and you meet in the middle.
Here we go. We got a Splattershot Nova on the side
what?
of Guns N' Roses. Let's go.
Okay. So Dio is on the ballpoint here. So forget everything they wrote on the sheet. They're just flexing to do whatever they need to for the team.
It's very mixed up here. They kind of have a bit of a role switch, but Dave Navier is trying to take middle, is cut off by a bomb. Umbre is just going to kind of vibe up here on the blaster. It's a really strong spot for the blaster. Tri-slasher here, Rose is bringing out. Does get directed though, but was trying to do a good thing, trying to clear off middle. Looks like Umbre is just going to chill on the side here while Dave is going to go in, get a pick on one. Looks like Baja's in a corner trying to take one out, but Dave is popping off right now with the picks on the upper mid and back left corners here.
Yeah, they've been slaying pretty reliably off of the opportunities given to them. One thing that's helping a lot with Woomph is getting all of these point sensors. So the Inkjet shots, the Zuka shots, they will know where they have to aim at, and I think that's a synergy that they're very intentionally creating on this comp.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like there's a reason for this. They have a reason for what they're trying to do, and Splattershot Nova has a lot of locating, so constant callouts and all that will know where people are. We've got a fight happening up in mid. There is a jump popping in. Looks like there is a trade there. Dio is going to pop the Inkjet, able to get Umbre, but does get taken down by the Squiffer. And Leotos is the only one alive there on the side while the rest are spawning in. And it looks like he's going to try to pick off that clam, but unfortunately misses the shot. So it looks like a score is able to happen on side of Guns N' Roses. Dio's moving up. It's just the Squiffer left alive yet again. Zuka's ready for Dave for Nape, so can still lock them back. Will Rest try to come in with clams? We see Rose going down though, but Squiffer is able to pick off the Zuka.
Absolutely massive play on that by Dio. Dio is the reason that push went as hard as it did. Dio is holding them back from attacking the scoring players the entire time and with continually giving jumps the entire time without going down. And now they've got another Inkjet to start the next push. Brilliant play from Dio, even though this is the first pick that they're getting off it. Absolutely the reason that they got that many points.
Yeah, if you can even just the initial pick off of an Inkjet will do like a lot for a team. This Crab here is really good on D, able to pick down 2 members on Guns N' Roses. Looks like one does go down on the side. The blaster is just respawning. But now it's just kind of a neutral game here. Both teams have a power clam, but still really good starting push for Guns N' Roses. They have a really good mid control here too.
Do you think it's Guns N' Roses because Rose doesn't play a weapon that's a gun?
I never thought about that. Could be.
Because it's a bucket. I don't know. Anyway, they've got the basket open again, and they put in a huge number of points. This might just KO. They only need 4 small clams, and
they're
Wolf is
right
going to get
there.
at least 2, maybe 3.
And Dave has the rest.
Last one.
There we go.
Wow. I did not anticipate them playing this well. This is impressive to me.
They also did kind of a complete flip from what to expect, and I think that also helped in a way. Because we've got 2 on weapons that, said they're going to do, but there's 2 that was kind of on a whole different thing in general. Like Woomph brought out the Splattershot Nova, didn't actually go to Squiffer, but it did say might flex shooter. I will add that. But nobody would have expected the Nova to be the flex shooter.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Sniper Raider Squiffer might flex shooter. I wonder if that's just like a map mode specific thing that they worked out together and like.
That or they know they're fighting another Squiffer.
Or yeah, I don't know.
And just they want to get the upper hand on that other Squiffer, but
couldn't they just do that with the pencil though? I guess you would get zipped if you were trying to play pencil into
Yes,
it.
pencil is more of a kind of a behind, but it looks like Guns N' Roses, they want to keep up that aggression. They want to stay up front. Pencil sometimes can't always do that. I know that there is a bit of a weakness on close range, like until like, you've played with pencil a lot, then you do have a way to completely shut that down. You'll figure it out. But this was a good way. It's just kind of a combo weapon there, especially with the ballpoint. Like the short fire of the ballpoint can work with the Nova well. Nova can spot it out for the Inkjet shots. And Dio just kind of maintained up top there and was able to push the others back as well. So it was a very interesting and not like weapons we'd expect the people to play, but they have their own combination, and it did what they wanted. Because the others were just able to follow up on that combo in particular.
Yeah. It makes me think that we could potentially see some more custom weapon comps coming out of Guns N' Roses, that they're going into Zones Hagglefish, that we see something like completely different I could easily see Dio just swapping off Anchor at some point, and then Orange
Rose
Bulborb
does,
like has
have
no
Explo
data
too, so that could happen too. Because Explo
on zones. Would
yeah,
be,
I've seen actually a lot of play out of the custom one on zones these days.
Yeah.
So
we'll see if that's what they decide to go with. There is the 5-star Explo badge.
Yep.
So would not be surprised. Very aggressive frontline comp there.
They're keeping it.
Okay, absolutely the same comp. This is a really strong Inkjet map, so I'm not surprised to see an Inkjet weapon back, but it is going to be Dio once again on the ball point. They're just playing like it's the patch before pencil meta. Honestly, that's kind of what this looks like to me.
In all honesty, it's refreshing to see all of these different things. Like, there's so many different strategies that you can still use in this game. I see 2 go down on the backside here in the combination. Dio is kind of going to hold here, be aware of the crab, is going to paint just to make sure nobody's going to flank, but the bubble is out in the middle of the Squiffer there. Orange Bulborb able to hold the zone as they have the rest pushed back. We see Dio fighting on the bottom corner here. Dave Fernade's going to jump in as well. Is unable to get any other picks, but they were able to take the Squiffer out as they did that fight. Zone is going to, I think it did revert a little bit, but it's still going to be in Orange Bulborb's favor. It is just Dio left alive, and this jump is going to be looked at.
All right, so Orange Bulborb in control now very solidly. They're going to have all the time they want to move up. They have specials. Crab is going to be out in, mid probably is looking like where they're trying to set this up, but they're waiting until there's a push. They're being patient. They're not trying to blow the special until resources are used on the part of Guns N' Roses. So a whale gets popped out there. The Crab still is not out. They're using a Booyah instead because they've had time to paint that because there hasn't been a lot of pressure from Guns N' Roses. There's still a Crab tank, and the zone is still ticking down, and players are going down on the side of Guns N' Roses. There's not a lot of time left.
The Crab tank wasn't used, but yet I believe it was still brought back right away. And now here's the Crab tank. They want to take down Dio there, but Dio able to pick it off first. But they have to go for zone. They have to paint for zone. There's 2 ticks left. I don't think they're going to get there to paint it. No. Oh. What a great use of resources, though, to keep the lock. That is how you would basically anticipate splat zones. Because remember, we were taught about the imaginary line not to cross at one point back in the day.
Yep.
You could see that there was an imaginary line. Like, some people can cross it, but there are certain people that you don't want to cross it, so they can basically anticipate a special push like that. So if the other team plays their pawns first, you can just go around and capture them.
Yep. It's really challenging because on the one hand, you don't want to go too early, because if you go too early, then you just end up at a numbers advantage and they single you out. But if you go too late, what can happen is the other team just gets all the time that they want to set up. They can put all the paint out that they want on the map, and they have specials ready to go. And what happened here was there was one special ready to go. They had the Crab tank. They didn't even need it because Guns N' Roses didn't push up to try and contest them. And so they got an entirely different special out before they got the Crab out and still had the Crab in reserve to end the game with. And even though the dualies did end up going down, that was with Cooler. They spawned back in and just popped it as soon as they landed and still had that Crab ready to go. So it made it a lot more difficult for the front line to move up. Dio had to get rid of it with the Inkjet, but then the front line still needed to cross court and just didn't have the time to do that in the 7 ticks that they had left in the game. So that's a great example of how splat zones can really snowball, and how I personally think it's like the second fastest mode after, well, Rainmaker, which is what we've got right now. So this could be volatile. Let's see how they play it.
Machine has appeared, and Nautilus is going to appear for Dio, but otherwise they have the same other 3 weapons with the Tri and the Nova.
Yep. I think that's exactly the same comp on both teams from the previous game, so they're sticking to their guns here. Oh, well, except for the Nautilus. I missed the Nautilus.
Yeah, the Nautilus. Yeah, the Nautilus is out.
Nautilus very strong on this map. It's able to kind of move its charge forward, so it's not hurt as much by the rounded sight lines, by the cover, the dome in the middle. It's able to be a splatling, but not get its entire sight line blocked every time. Oh my God! You can't run away. We have a longer ranged weapon. We hit those. Oh,
that got punished a lot. I mean, I get the team was just like, we're just gonna steal this and run the other way, but
if Cooler weren't in the game, that would have been absolutely devastating. As such, Orange Bulborb is able to recover just fine, and they have the orange ink. They have the home field advantage here. So they're going to move out and put a little bit more of that down in mid. and try and get control to make a Rainmaker push and actually get to the checkpoint this time without getting tripled by Azuka. But there is Azuka out, and it does take out Umbre. Can it find Citrus? It cannot. Beautiful defense by Leotos to keep Citrus safe on the way to a dunk here. So they're going to be set up, and they're probably going to have some specials that they're going to be able to pop by the time this Rainmaker is available for them. Dio diving in, and a huge splashdown clears the area. Everyone diving in, everyone diving in. I'm sure Dio is yelling, go fight, push up.
That does sound like a Dio thing to do. It was able to clear the area. There was picks going back and forth. Dio here trying to get a couple other picks, pushing people towards where the Zuka could possibly hit, but the Zuka doesn't get a pick either. You see Baja on the side here, just maintaining spots on bunker, just knowing, hey, like, hey, I'm over here, don't focus this side.
Ooh,
but
shot.
Dave Fernave able to punish it, but is stuck between two. Isn't able to get another, is follow-up taken down. But we see Woomph here with the Rainmaker, but could get collapsed on here from behind. Dio is trying to protect it. Dio does successfully protect it.
Dio is going to go down for it, but they cleared the checkpoint, which is an objective. Dav Fernay, okay, not going to try and stay in. They're not going to try and stay in there. They just they've been getting too much value out of those.
There's the rail shot.
Out of those Trizukas to go down there, and they have one ready, and they're going to fire it right now, and they get such consistent value out of this. Obviously, there was the triple early on, but they also were able to get one and pressure the Rainmaker really hard with it the last time, and then they get a pick there that completely reverses the momentum. And now, Guns N' Roses has it picked up, and they are 1 point away from lead. All they really need to do is get around that corner, and then the pressure is on for Orange Bulborb. It's not going to be easy, though. Baja gets in there and trades the Rainmaker, which is typically worthwhile. Zuka does get one. Umbra goes down. Dio is in the way. They can totally go and get this lead at least.
They do. There
Let's see
we go.
how many points they can get off it, though. They don't have too many people on front. No, they do. Rose is still in there. Woomph needs to get this thing moving and get some points, and they do get down to 37. That's not huge, but it is a significant lead, and it's going to be a lot harder now for Orange Bulborb to come back from.
Orange Bulborb were in such good places there. Like, yeah, they could have went up in front there, but they were in a nice little kind of semicircle formation to help defend that Rainmaker from not going any further. So Woomph couldn't go so far. But when we're pushing one side, it's a complete reverse right now. The Tri-Slosher is down. Lead is reclaimed. It is one bucket and bucket. Dio's here on the, not coming down here. The bucket's just respawning on the other side, but I believe one is close by. Yes, the machine is nearby Dio right now. Baja's trying to pinch around on the other side, but Dio does see it. It looks like Baja goes down. In return there, Umbre backing up. Whale is going to go out from the Nova here. There is still Splashdown and Zuka on the side of Guns N' Roses. They do have an opportunity to possibly push here. They just need to try to find that first pick.
What a crazy set. I could still see lead going back and forth twice before this game is over.
Dio overstepping middle a little bit, able for Leotos to go in and get a pick to pop Bubble just beside the Rainmaker. It is kind of basically a stall point here in middle. Squiffer's in a really good spot, but they are going to opt to push it onto the other side here. Rose going to help Dave get a pick here, but is going to get picked off by the Rainmaker. I believe, yes, Dio is just responding. Yes, that is a huge pick there on the side, and it looks like Leotos is still just going to push it forward for the 30 seconds, but isn't going to overstep their boundaries.
Citrus is threatening a left side flank. If they get through on this, that could be huge. But what it's also doing is leaving the Rainmaker defenseless, and it does go down. So nothing happens from that. Citrus does get one. Is it even going to be worth it? I don't know. Well, it's stalling out the enemy team at the very least, and really the pressure is on Guns N' Roses to make something happen. Massive collapse there from the front side, and Citrus makes this flank pay off. I don't think they even get to the Rainmaker. I think
Citrus is just going to pop off in the corner here. Wow.
Very well played at the end there. Great patience from Citrus to make that position count. They knew that they had to abandon their team for a little bit to make it work. You know, any flank that happens, you're spending a significant amount of time where you're not firing back at the enemy team. You are letting them 4v3 the rest of your team. So you've got to make it count on the backside, but Citrus did manage to pull that off, especially with the movement speed they were getting from the cooler. So well played there. Very, very close set, 2-1 right now. Or was it 1-1? Are they up? No, it is 2-1
okay. Right now, yeah.
I was like, wait, were they that fast on updating it? Am I reading it wrong? So,
no,
yeah.
You're good.
Like I said, we have the chat predictions. Orange Bulborb 73% here. Guns N' Roses, you know, taking that game was very impressive and like surprised me. they're going to have to show that they can hang here if they want to upset the chatters and give a whole bunch of points over to their supporters.
I mean, I know that's happened at least once that I was able to watch that something like that happened already. But going into this next map here, going on to Inkblot here, I can see there could be a possible change up here. I'm just not too sure what change up could be, but because it seems like both comps are going to be pretty similar. I'm pretty sure Orange bulborb is going to be pretty much similar, unless if I think they also had a blaster at one point too, didn't
I think they had someone who they only listed as playing blasters,
Okay.
Umbre. They were on the machine last game.
They were on the machine last game,
So maybe
yes.
here we see the blaster come out. It is tower control, and it's also not a bad blaster map in general, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a rapid.
They are going to keep the machine here with Booyah Bomb, and it looks like
Oh, they're staying on the machine.
Yep, staying on the machine, and the Nautilus is going to, or not the Nautilus is going away. The ballpoint is coming back on the side, but look at these early side takes here. Leotos is the one going to take the flank on the starting side, and one is going to try and follow up, is going to bait one to the side, and does get that one snipe, and now is going to go back, get that cooler, and then go right back to where they just were. Quick movements here. Crab is now in place. They've got the bubble, and tower is already in the favor of Orange bulborb, and there's still resources to go out. Look at where this bubble placement is right now.
That's a pretty popular place to put it, because even though, you know, the conventional wisdom says put it on tower, if you can get it further forward and they can't get around, then it's even more powerful because it locks them out even further away from the tower than they would be otherwise.
Zuka, unfortunately, doesn't find any picks there, but Cooler does go down, and they are able to get drinks. However, Orange bulborb is still pushing very strong here. There's no one behind, just Woomp's just in a corner, and another bubble in a solid spot here. You can't really do anything to get around that. You just need the range and extra specials to try to push that out. Leotos is just trying to be a menace up front here, being on the just frontline squiff, and it is working out in their favor.
Yeah, Leotos was like, hey, why'd you take the camera off me? Look back at me right now. And they're still on plat.
Yeah.
This push is not over because they're getting jumps in and it's not getting cleared. And this might actually threaten KO if Dio cleans up.
Dio might get the
triple.
quad.
Can we get a quad?
Get the quad.
No quad on stream.
Oh,
Umbre
it's still
is going to
there.
jump out.
But great effort though.
Yeah,
it was so
absolutely
close.
saved the game and created an opportunity to get some offense going. Dio's going to have the inkjet and is going to pop that
Baha's hiding in the back corner. Baha is hiding in the back corner. Okay,
it might have been a little
out.
early on the inkjet there. I don't think they get anything out of this. And now, how do they get up onto bats? I think Dav is just going to get stopped right there on the rail. So they're going to be stalled out for a little bit. They need another fight, and they're going to have specials to contend with now.
Yeah, something interesting though with Orange bulborb is that there is usually somebody on the pinch play here. Like just beforehand, the tower was stalled a little bit, getting kind of back into mid because Baha was over there distracting a couple members. If Baha had won that fight, it could have definitely been in reverse. Then I saw another member go and take the other side, and in the end, the fight still ends up over on this one side here, and it goes in the favor of Orange bulborb, and there is a couple resources online that could definitely put some impact here on Guns N' Roses.
Pretty massive for that Fernape to have gotten out of that. They have a Zuka ready to go, and if they hadn't made that jump out, they wouldn't. So they've been saving it for a pretty long time. Okay, they're popping it now. Maybe they were just waiting for the rest of the team to come in, but no immediate value out of that. They do keep the enemy team back. They're trying to push up. No trade even. Umbre does go down at some point, somewhere we didn't see. So Cooler coming out, but Guns N' Roses still in control of their plat, and they're actually able to take Citrus out, so no Cooler coming out anytime soon either.
The Crab is back out. I will say Orange bulborb is getting their specials pretty quickly. They always have some sort of resource to help secure a corner or to push back. They took out the ball point, so Inkjet isn't going to be out. It looks like Different is trying to go in, is able to get the pick on Leotos. Zuka's going to, oh my gosh. Zuka's going to come out and is able to get one on the side.
And that's big. If they can hunt down the Zap, that would actually even be bigger. But even so, lots of space that they've been managed to take. So, you know, and that Fernape's already back. Like, he's not going to have a problem getting back into play. So,
Dio trying to get a pick with
first
the
checkpoint,
there.
good. Inkjet doesn't really get that much. It's 1-for-1 right now. They really need to get control of bats if there's anything's going to happen here. Fernet gets in behind them. Can't actually land the shots on Leotos, and Leotos kites him back.
Oh, no!
Oh, man, Leotos.
Tragedy has happened.
Why is literally every splat that you land with this weapon, every hit you land with this weapon, a highlight reel moment? Why is Squiffer so cool?
You said it yourself. It's a weapon that it's like a high accurate weapon and all that. But anyway, going back, there's still 40 seconds left in this game. Guns N' Roses is in control of the tower. Inkjet is out. They really need to try to find these picks, but no. Leotos is going to find it first with the Squiff. Different is trying to go in and get a trade again. It's just the 2 left alive, but Crab is out. 25 seconds left. We can see the jumps appearing onto the side here. Dio is going to get stuck in that jump because it was on the top, and that one's on the top too. That was, it's such an unfortunate place to jump there because one was up on the wall and it just didn't go back down, or just the jumps didn't land underneath, so there was no protection. Just unfortunate to jumps to back in, but this tower is very heavily guarded. It's just one. That's a wipe. This game goes to Orange bulborb.
Yep, there's the
and the set.
We've got some pop-offs coming from Orange bulborb. They're happy with that. Pretty dominant match there. I think, you know, the big difference here in terms of, like, what won the game is how well you're able to take the enemy bats.
Yes.
That's just always how it works on this map mode. And one of the things that kept happening was, like, Dio's Inkjet was a really powerful tool to get them up there, and it always got value, but they were never able to actually lock in bats from using the Inkjet. It got them further forward, but it didn't get them far enough. And after that happened, things would kind of peter out. They really wouldn't have the defensive positions that they would need to keep the tower safe. Whereas, you know, Orange bulborb cruised through that first checkpoint super early in the game using the big bubbler. They had a couple of picks to start with, and they already had people on plat. So they had that momentum, and that they were able to snowball that through the second checkpoint. That's what really made it last so long, that push on the plat. Because then you get all of these advanced positions. You've already got people in the places that you need to stop the tower from being defended. So they did a lot of work to be able to get up there, but they were able to snowball it because they got to that critical point of clearing the checkpoint. If the Inkjet had managed to, like, get Fernet up into bats and kind of clear bats, that would have made a much bigger difference, because then there wouldn't have been as much heat on the tower. But the tower was never really able to even get up the ramp. Because of that, plat stayed Orange bulborb's color, bats stayed Orange bulborb's color. There just really wasn't a lot of, there weren't a lot of options for Guns N' Roses to get up into the offensive positions they needed to be in.
You could see the want trying to be there as well. Like, even with some of the Zuka plays, you could see it trying to help clear space, but, you know, it just didn't get the picks that it wanted. I could feel some of that pain there in some of those fights, because there's usually 2 members of Orange bulborb there when, like, Fernet was fighting. It was on the camera there, and the shots were there to be able to splat one person, but because there was 2, it weakened them, but they were able to take the one down, and then they were able to go back to heal and go immediately take another fight together and just keep Guns N' Roses back in the base as well. That was also helping out on the front, and I could see it. I was just like, I know that they're feeling this right now, that they know that they've landed the shots, but it's separated on 2 separate people. So they're both weak, and they just didn't have the extra follow-up to actually get the double splat that it could have been, because there was enough damage there. Just couldn't be completed, and they were all pushed back enough to the point where they couldn't quite hit or follow up. But they were there. It just couldn't be finished.
A lot of big defensive clutches on the part of Orange bulborb. Like, they made it look easy getting up the ramp there when they made their push, but it is not easy. That is absolutely the hardest part of that map mode. And because they were able to get such a big lead, they were also able to just keep it on defense. They didn't really have to push. They didn't have to overextend. They could use their resources to just keep people off the tower, and that was all that really needed to happen. So definitely had the advantageous position after that early push. But great play from both teams. Like I said, you know, I was expecting Orange bulborb to play very well and make it up out of their group. But you know, Guns N' Roses taking even a game there is very impressive, and the fight that they put on, like how close a lot of those games were. That 33 to 37 on Rainmaker. Again, that's like 1 second of running with the Rainmaker. That's not a lot of time.
You could also see the adaptation too. Like in the first one, it seemed like more of kind of like a surprise to them as well of who was playing what and what they were getting hit with. And the rest of the games, you could kind of see that adaptation. Like Leotos was actually continuing to go more up front. Like it was in stages. It was like, okay, it's here. Wait, now you're kind of in the middle area, and then now you're really up front in a Slayer position. And you can kind of see it on the map at how they're just continuing to go up. It's like they recognize, okay, this is the threat that we want to get rid of. Who can get rid of this threat first? Oh, I can do it. Okay, let's put you here, and we're just going to kind of rotate a little bit and go from there. And you could see just how that rotation worked. Like Leotos was put on basically the Slayer role that time, and the bubble was able to block up the areas, like you were mentioning, and the rest could just go up with it. That was the weapon that they wanted to put up there to deal with the threats, and it was the one to do it.
Mm-hmm. Having the bubble on plat like that was kind of a force multiplier, because they could put Leotos in that position, and then Leotos was the only person who needed to be in that position. Everybody else could flood bats and kind of flush that out with all of their superior numbers. And normally the counterplay to making that sort of an aggressive full commitment with your team is to rush across plat to get to the tower from the other side. But because you've got a Squiffer in a big bubbler watching that, what are you going to do? It's a death laser. You kind of just have to shred it from a distance or something, and they did not have a lot of time to do that. The tower was able to get through the checkpoint, so a really great example of like how to kind of break through, to break the dam and start the points flowing in.
Yep, that's a pretty good way to put it, actually. And it's just one of those things. It's just when you know it's going to be like, okay, this will work the best here. That's what you got to do.